Hey, welcome to Coffee with Andi. It is so good to be back with you. I know it's been a little while, but I am ready to jump right back in. I've been working on the final manuscript of my book, and that's now turned in. So they're working on that, and that's due to come out in the fall of this year, which is really exciting. So tons more news on that to come, but that's not for now. Our church is in the middle of 21 days of fasting and prayer, which has been absolutely phenomenal. So you'll see I don't have a coffee with me at the moment, but plenty of water and juices and really good clean food. So we're going so well, and I'm amazed at what we're seeing, miracles, signs, and wonders, and believing for so many more. Now I have just jumped into my bedroom at home. My kids are out there, and you may hear some screams or yelling or them going crazy, but I just wanted to jump in here for a moment and just connect with you, reconnect with you, because it's been a little while. You know, I got a question from somebody that asked, how can I trust God again? You know, this is somebody who is from North Carolina, has been through quite a lot. And to be honest, a lot of the Coffee with Andi questions that came in had a lot to do with walking through pain, and how do I walk through pain? How do I trust again? How do I go through these things and all of that? And it's really interesting. I just had this thought. And I was just in Zurich in between Christmas and New Year's with my eldest son, speaking at Praise Camp, which was phenomenal. And I had this moment where I was on my phone, my iPhone, for gosh, a good hour. You know how you can get lost just sitting there on your phone, and you realize, what have I just done with the last hour? And then you take it and you put it in your pocket, and you realize, my whole world is on this thing, from my calendar to the fact that I am recording myself on my iPhone right now, so can't pick it up and show you. But my whole world is on there, from my pictures, my emails, my text messages, social media, any app that I could ever possibly want. All of these things that are at my fingertips, and then I can just go and put that in my pocket. Well, I think what we have done is we have relegated God down to something that we can put in our pocket, where we get frustrated when we go through hard situations, where trust is broken by another human being, where someone hurts us or someone comes at us, and we walk through pain and trial, which is here on earth. And even as Christians, it doesn't say anywhere in the Gospels, receive Jesus and have a blessed, easy life. It just doesn't. It doesn't say that, but I think that is what we have bought into, is almost like this God where we can pull it out of our pocket whenever we want and go, I need this and this and this to change, and if you don't, I won't trust you. Well, trust isn't based on what somebody can do for you. See, our God, this is the difference. He is not a man that he should lie. He is not human, but we are created in his image. So if you think about it from this perspective, I was having a great conversation with Danny, one of our staff, who just came and stood in my doorway at the office today, and we talked about a million and one things. Our conversation bunny trailed, but one of the things we talked about, and he talked about specifically, was he was saying, you know, he's like, my belief in God is that he is good, he is sovereign, he is all of these things, he's solid, he's over here, but then there's me over here when I walk through pain or have questions or go through something hard, and I start asking the why God, or how can I trust you? What that means is there is something about God's image that I don't yet understand. Now think about how big this is. His character, something about his image, something about his character that I don't yet understand. Because even in the middle of pain, that should not change how much I trust him, because he is kind and he is good. So we've got to get good at seeking who he is, seeking his character. When I feel like I can't trust you, God, maybe instead of saying, how can I trust again? It's like, instead maybe say, how can I understand you, God, who you are, God, and that you are good in spite of what I see. Even if my prayers don't get answered, even if I don't get what I want, I can connect with how good you are. What's so amazing is that when Jesus came and he died and he rose again, is that he restored everything back to what? If you go back to the Garden of Eden, before the enemy came in and Adam and Eve sinned, and they were walking in the garden. It says they were naked and unashamed. They were created in the image of God. So bearers of God's image, walking in his presence, connected with him, totally unashamed. Nothing to say, hey, I don't trust you, God. How can I trust you? But the gospel, the good news is that what happened with the first Adam, the second Adam, Jesus came and he redeemed all of it. Which means that when we receive Jesus and are literally born again, we start over. We are bearers of his image. We are redeemed and restored back to our original intent to live unashamed, connected to God. And so I would say to you, if you're in a place where you're like, I don't trust God, how can I ever trust God again? I would begin to seek his true character, because maybe you've been sold on a God that you can put in your pocket. But our God is not something we can come out and go, make me trust you. He gives us a free will. He gives us a free will to trust him or not to trust him, to live for him or not to live for him, to walk in bitterness and contempt and anger and not forgive people. He allows us to stay in those prisons. But meanwhile, he's saying, I am all that you need, and I can restore all of these things. I can restore your trust in me. I can restore your identity. I can restore everything and make all things new if only you would turn to me and seek my character. So I would say, if you're in a place where you don't trust God, I would say right now it's time for you to dig into the Word of God, to dig into Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and see how amazing our God is that he would send Jesus, his son, because he loved us so deeply that we could be born again and restored back to our original intent, so that we could be bearers of his image, connected to him at all times. Nothing can separate us from his love. Nothing. And so we've got to get really good at seeking those things out. So go and read, devour the Gospels, look at Jesus' life, see who he was and how he lived, and that he was restoring the way that we were to live even in trials. See, Jesus, it wasn't easy for Jesus. Jesus went through a lot of things, yet he still remained the Son of God, bearing his image, trusting in God fully. So how do you trust him? Man, you go and seek and find what the true gospel is. The fullness of the good news of what you have, even in the midst of your pain. Guys, we are all going to go through stuff. I mean, just look at the world around us right now. There is pain every single place that we look, from Syria, Aleppo, the refugee crisis, human trafficking, to, the racial injustice that we see, and everything that's going on that has people emotionally stirred up. And then your own personal world in pain. Man, we have got to get good at seeking and finding and sitting and meditating on the goodness of God, even in the middle of hell on earth sometimes. Because it's not always easy. It's not always all good, even though we would love it to be. But here's the deal. We are bearers of his image, carriers of the kingdom. So therefore, when we pray, your kingdom come, your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven, we are the ones that can bring his kingdom from heaven to earth, straight from who we are, because we are bearers of his image. So I hope that helped you in some way. I'm a little bit passionate about this right now. We're really going back to a lot of the basics in our own church this year, really wanting to make sure that we are not watering down the gospel, making God a God we can put in our pocket, and that he gives us 10 steps to how to make life easy and perfect, but that we understand who we are when we receive him and are born again. And so I'm excited to see what this year brings, and I'm excited to connect with you again soon, hopefully sooner than I did over this last time. But you are all amazing. Keep writing in your questions, but can I ask one request? Many of you are sending in emails and wanting me to respond to you. I have got way too many emails that have come in, and I do not have enough time to be able to respond to all of you. Coffee with Andi is designed for it to just be simple questions that I can ask, and many times a lot of you have the same question in a different way. So if I can just encourage you, I'm so sorry if you've written to me and I haven't written back to you. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to that, because I have a couple other of email accounts, Facebook to manage, a million other things that are going on right now. You feel me? So I love you all, and I appreciate every single one of you. And by the way, for every single one of you that have written in, just an encouragement of where you've heard me speak or something that has changed your life, I just want to say thank you so much for your kind words as well. You are all an amazing, encouraging community, and I can't wait to connect more. Love y'all.